Mr. Agnew.
Thank you. I've been growing sugar beet since 1971, and over the years I've noticed the great the volatility in the world trade. We've seen very high prices and we've seen very low prices. But there's something that's come in more recently, certainly in the United Kingdom, and that is a concerted anti-sugar campaign on health grounds. And I feel that this is going to be effective. The argument is that we're all getting very fat in the United Kingdom, obesity it's called, and this costs money to treat. It's easy to say, well, don't eat so much, but it's never quite as simple as that. Apparently, money has to be spent to stop us eating so much. But this is a serious point, that this is now getting what I call a tobacco treatment. And if you say you're a sugar beet grower these days, in mixed company, there'll be one or two people who look at you as though you said you were a tobacco grower. It's beginning to get like that. It's getting out of fashion. And I didn't notice anywhere in the presentation that this took account of this factor. Now, the United Kingdom may not be typical of the whole of Europe. I wouldn't know that, but I've sensed this coming in, and my feeling is that it will gain some traction, and we will see a cut in demand. Behind me, somebody mentioned other alternatives, and you can produce sugar beet and put it into an aerobic digester, and energy will be released. The big problem here is the transport from where the sugar beet is produced to where it's processed. Every mile increase in the distance reduces the effectiveness of this, and you very quickly get into a negative energy situation. And I feel that can only be got round by doing everything you possibly can to get a very big yield indeed. And that means taking advantage of new plant breeding techniques. And yet there is huge resistance to this as well. So you've got resistance to consuming the product as a food, and you've got resistance to allowing growers to grow a really massive crop for no real good reason, except they hate the word GM or gene editing. And finally, Chairman, Mr. Flanagan was talking about the sugar beet industry in Ireland, and I do remember when there was a sugar beet industry in Ireland. Actually, Ireland, they manufactured a sugar beet harvester called an Armour. And with the complete freeing up of this, if there are not going to be any quotas, it's up to entrepreneurs in Ireland to see if they can persuade farmers to grow sugar beet at a price which is profitable and that they can undercut imports. It's purely an economic matter. I don't think the EU would interfere with that. Am I right? Thank you.
There was another aspect which was addressed by some of the speakers, the UK, and the fact that sugar, the overall goal is to bring down sugar consumption for health reasons. What we have tried to do in a sensitive way, try and suggest and propose some kind of promotion for sugar. Now, on the dairy market, the milk market, we know that there is competition between different products such as dairy products and plant oil products, like between margarine and butter, and all because of cholesterol, in terms of health. And there are certain approaches in that sector, so we would have to take a look at that for the sugar sector as well and see whether we can deal with that particular aspect in some way.